Hello and welcome. In today's video, I would like to talk a little bit about league starting and some things specifically that you should or should not do when considering what character you're going to start with. Now, the first thing is a little bit of a disclaimer, and it is not one of the 3 tips I'm going to outline. It's a little bonus tip, if you will. Do not assume that the build you have picked, if you're planning it right now, is going to be the final build you are playing on League Start. It is very easy to see something in the patch notes that looks awesome and switch to that. It's also very possible that you might say, oh, Blade Vortex, I'm going to play that. It looks great. And then for some reason, because of a factor you're not aware of, like, all the top speed farmers in hardcore are abusing Blade Vortex gets nerfed by 30% and it's just a dead skill. Am I saying that's going to happen? Not necessarily, but it's something to keep in mind and something to be cognizant of as you're planning. Don't tie yourself to, I'm going to play this one thing, because it could very well end badly. Now, on to the tips. Tip number 1, do not start with a meme build. Do not start with a meme. Work on something that is going to be a well-rounded build. It is going to not be too specific in terms of what it requires. And it's not going to be something weird where you're like, if I get these 8 mechanical interactions to align just perfectly, it's really awesome because I got these 8 mechanical interactions to align just perfectly. That is the opposite of what you want in a league start. You want something that's reliable, something that you can use to help yourself progress in whatever aspect of the game you have chosen on your league start. You can make your meme build later. Farm up your currency, progress your atlas, do your early mapping on a reliable build first. Tip number 2. When you are making your build, don't just look at, all right, this is the final POB, I'm fully geared, I'm in maps, this looks awesome. Think about the steps that are going to get you to that point. Think about, are you a CI build? Do you need to level as life-based or hybrid? How are you going to do that? What tree are you going to use to level? Let's say your skill comes in at level 28. Well, what are you going to do from level 1 to level 27? Are you just going to punch everything with your basic attack? Are you going to use a lower level skill? What lower level skills? You don't have to have the perfect, fastest time to level 28 plan ever to exist, but you have to have a plan, and it has to be something that you feel comfortable that you can put into practice. And tip number 3, manage your own expectations. So if you see that a streamer is getting from level 1 to maps in, let's just say, 4.5 hours, that's awesome. They worked hard for it, and congratulations to them. Do not feel like you must also league start and rush through in that time. If it takes you 6 hours or 10 hours or 16 hours, that's totally fine. Go at your own pace and manage your own expectations. So what that means is look at yourself. How did I do last league? How did I do the league before? Am I progressing better? Don't compare yourself to, say, Mathel, because he has played the game a lot more. He has a lot more experience. As part of this, when you're thinking about items, let's say you feel very comfortable that you can get a Chevron's Wrappings day 2 of the league because you've done it 2 or 3 times. It's totally okay to put that Chevron's Wrappings in your league start build because you can do it. Now, on the other hand, if you don't get to maps the first week, you should not have that Chevron's Wrappings in your league start plan, because your league start is really about week 1. What am I doing? How am I getting to my goal, whatever that may be? So again, tailor your plan if it takes you a week to get to maps around the journey to maps. Make yourself skill trees for Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. Break it down. Look at what sort of items you might be able to farm yourself or purchase from another player, or what sort of items to look out for and highlight on your loot filter that, I'm going to be leveling bows. If that drops, I want it to be really shiny because you know what? That bow could be more valuable to you during your early leveling experience than an exalted orb. So again, manage your expectations, keep things in line with yourself and your previous experiences. I hope these 3 tips help you with your league start, help make it a little smoother. I am going to throw in one bonus tip, bringing the grand total to 5, which is use a guide if you are not comfortable in your own character building. If you're using a guide, make sure it is one focused on the early end of the game, not the end game. You do not need something that is capable of killing Awakener 8 or delving to depth 1000 for your league start. What you need is something that is going to smooth your experience from level 1 to level 68 as you go through the story. So look for things like Anki's Arc Witch that break down the steps to level and break down the early game as much as possible. Don't worry about the end game. It's not that hard to continue to improve a character or to get help from a more experienced player in improving your character if you reach endgame and it feels lackluster. What's really, really, really critical in your first character of a league is getting you to maps and getting you to maps smoothly and enjoyably. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this helpful. Stay sane, Exiles.